someone is going to break new ground.
Play.
It'll be Great Britain's Jack Draper to begin.
15.
There's a lot of focus with Jack on the forehand, but the backhand is very, very solid. He doesn't miss many off that side. It's a very flat hit. He can get the ball through the court nicely.
14.
Yeah, he's rock solid on that side. The forehand, there's a lot of damage, a lot more wrist action involved. The backhand, from what I've seen, and I'm going to be learning in real time more about Draper's game today, is backhand. He needs weight on the ball to really have impact. Because he's not really wristy, he needs to be kind of leaning into the shot to really hurt people. That forehand, if he's falling backwards, he can still hurt you.
Most definitely.
First game.
The left, who has been with Jack for a number of years now, guiding his career.
Alex de Minaur to serve. Love 15.
What's the occasion like for Jack today, do you think, playing with this a first major quarterfinal? How were the emotions when you were in his shoes?
Well, yeah, you can only speak to your own experiences. I don't know Jack and how he manages moments and pressure. I was a pretty high-running, high-revving person, and my first quarterfinal was intense. I played Stefan Edberg at Roland Garros. And I had a similar history of having played Edberg and having played him tough and lost more than I'd won against him coming into that. So similar matchup-wise, Edberg was the favorite, even though it was on clay. And I felt pretty comfortable as we see Leighton Hewitt, who knows what a quarterfinal feels like, and then some. I was comfortable until the finish line, and then I was not. So those are the moments that I'm always intrigued with. First-timers, how do they handle trying to stick the dismount if they get into a winning position?
Sure.
I think nerves normally reveal themselves very early in a match and then very late in a match in this environment. He hasn't shown any nerves early. Just the first point he's lost.
When you talk about players that are maximizing in their career, you certainly look at this young man. He is someone that does not cut corners in any way, shape or form.
First service.
Super humble. Never gets too far ahead of himself, does he? And at the same time, has made some pretty significant improvements, hasn't he, in terms of adding a bit of weight to the game.
brilliant.
Because he had a fair bit to do here. Minaur has made this a tricky little pass,
14.
almost round the corner. But he's had the answer.
Game, Draper.
And the ideal start for the British number one.
Draper leads 2 games to love. First set.
That is so clean from Draper. The rally tolerance, the patience of the Brit, impressive already, as it's easy for players to lose patience against the normally vacuum-packed defense of Alex de Minaur. It's not been without effort, though. He's huffing and puffing. But he's got the early lead.
Attended Reed School in Surrey. Did Jack, which is actually where Tim Henman was in the early days. And a few players come out
I
of
hope
there.
he came out with a better education than Tim. Jeez. There's only so much a school can do.
Fair point. It's a little early taste of the de Minaur defense.
15-all.
Adolfo Gutierrez, who effectively has been with Alex since he was about 9 years of age. And not too many partnerships out there with the longevity that these two have enjoyed, Jim.
Not unless they're blood related. Draper misses that serve, but along with Ben Shelton, probably the 2 best left-handed deliveries in men's tennis. Both tall, both strong, both plenty of power and nice action as well. If he goes wide or even into the body slider, a lot of spin on the serve.
30-all.
Yeah, when you look at the success he's had, that serve there has actually been his most successful. It's not the serve he goes to as often, but he hasn't lost too many points with that body forehand, has he?
And the warm-up prior to the match on the outside courts, words going around, that's where he was spending a lot of time practicing serves into a right-hander's forehand. Another double fault offers up a break-back chance for the Aussie. There's no sun issue for a lefty at this time of the day. No excuses for that one or the other.
Just the second time this week that Jack
Draper
Draper's
leads
been
2 games to
broken.
1. First set.
Just before the ladies stepped out. So a couple of early breaks on Ash.
Low 15.
So both of these players reportedly targeting a lot of practice serves in their warm-up today at the forehands of their opponents. Why would that be such a good idea, Nick, for both of these players?
I think Jack's forehand grip is obviously a little more extreme, so it's a little more challenging for him to return off that side. The contact's not quite as clean as it off the backhand. It's obviously been a slight issue for him. He's done well, made the most of his fortune. And I think for Alex, the backhand return is arguably as good in the game, isn't it? He's great at cutting the angle off. If you're going out wide on the outside, he's got such a short swing, he can cut the angle off. It's one of the best sort of aggressive blocks in the game, isn't it? So I think going into the forehand, again, it's just a slightly more challenging return for him from a lefty's perspective.
Draper so deep for this first serve. Really nice move on the net. Minaur is very secure with his volleys. He's so quick with his
15,
feet.
13.
That allows him to get the ball at a nice height and de-risks the volley. Look how quickly he's onto that net. Just bunts it across. Proper volleyer, the Aussie. He's been struggling with his service rhythm here at this tournament. It's a stroke that he's made great strides on this year. Started the season with more of a shoulder turn than he'd had in past years. He was getting a little more pop early in the year, but not quite in sync here at the Open. That's a good one.
Anything to do with the hip, Jim? Anything to do with the hip?
It has to be, right? If you're not able to get the normal practice reps, which clearly he wasn't able to after Wimbledon, he also might be protecting it.
Draper.
It's already 7 unforced errors from the Aussie in
Draper leads
just
3
15 minutes of play,
1%.
which by his standards is not where he'd like to be. usopen.org. Do head there if that's where you'd like to be. There's a lot to get your teeth into. Listening to some post-match interviews this morning of both Fritz and Tiafoe. Very enlightening they were. You can hear both of those if you want to have a listen, of course.
15 low.
The American semi-final is going to create a lot of attention here on Friday.
Going to hear the name Robbie Ginepri a lot between now and
13.
Friday, because the last time two American men played in a semifinal, he was on the other side of the net versus Andre Agassi.
06.
05. Federer would win the first of his majors at the first of his U.S. Opens against Andre a couple days later. And the last American man to reach the final, 06, it was Roddick. That guy Federer got him too. Oh, man, for the second of 5 in a row. Ruzetsky, the last Brit to reach the final in the men's here?
Yep.
Would be, right?
Yep. Didn't look possible.
Draper leads 4
Draper
games
is
to 1.
flying here early stages. 4-1. World number 10 under some early pressure on Arthur Ashe. His first outing of the fortnight on the main stage as well.
Love 15.
It's a bit of a tricky shadow for both of the players. Certainly for the viewers at home, it's not ideal at this hour. Minaur, it's been a while since he's also played on this court. Greg Sharko tells us he hasn't been here since 2020 quarterfinals, where he lost a dominant team and the U.S. closed because there were no people here.
That's right, yeah.
So he's been trafficking out on outside courts. Louis Armstrong, first time in the big house this year.
Love 30.
Look at the unforced error count continue to tick up for Minaur, and just 2 winners. Far more contained from Draper. He seems quite content just to extend these rallies at the moment. Are you surprised at that?
You know, I honestly think,
15,
Jim, that if you sort of look at Jack's game, the DNA of it, essentially, you know, he has had to, in recent times, force himself to be a bit more aggressive. But I think the fundamentals of Jack's game were always about being a little deeper and making a lot of balls. Now, obviously, that's not going to get it done at the highest level. But
does any of that emanate from watching Andy Murray's success and his natural feel for that style of play as well?
I don't know the answer to that question. You'd have to ask Jack, but he's obviously spent a lot of time around Andy
30
in the last couple of years. The National Tennis Centre in Great Britain is where so many of the guys train. They're consistently working together. Cam Norio put in that conversation as well. Cam's Dan Evans. There's a good group of them, and they do like to be around each other. It's been helpful. Jack's best friend is actually Paul Jubb, who he lived with for a long time up until recently. Paul losing in the qualifying here, but they're very close, those two.
Draper leads 4 games to 2. First set.
Jubb, an NCAA champion here in the United States. Looking forward to seeing his game continue to progress. Impressive young player. And it's pretty impressive so far to me, just checking out a couple of the numbers from our friends at Hawkeye, looking at what Minaur had been doing coming into this match so successfully. Not really going after his forehand that much. Today he is, and perhaps he's feeling the pressure of Draper's consistency, but he's trying to jack the forehand, and the errors are flying off that wing. That's a nice little move up to the forecourt, cutting the angle off from the Brit. But Minaur, one of the things that I think he's done so much better this year is have variety. The backhand slice down the line, the short chips. He's sometimes in the past he's got too caught up in trying to hit big, which is not his natural game.
30
and try and sort of keep up with the Joneses, if you know what I mean, as opposed to relying on what his strengths are. Incredible movement, which may be compromised slightly by his hip injury. He still carries a little bit with. I loved what I saw in the particularly United Cup, the way he was just moving the ball around and making people feel awkward.
Interesting you referenced the fact, obviously, that he does come in a fair bit, because I actually had a look of the 8 quarter-finalists. Only Tiafoe had come in more than Alex, which, again, speaks to his movement, his transition, and obviously his court position, which he likes to hold pretty high, doesn't he?
Well, he doesn't have extreme topspin, which, unless you're Daniil Medvedev, almost everyone who stands deep, deep in the court puts a lot of spin on the ball so they can get height and push their opponents back. He's a baseline hugger, Minaur. And you talked about his movement. It's very, very quick. He might be the quickest player in tennis, agility-wise.
Yeah,
I probably would put some money on a matchup between him and Alcaraz. But his ability to see the ball coming short and then cut the angle off and get in and then follow it in is really fantastic.
One of the better points he's played out here so far. Gets a loser point behind his first serve, Draper. Hasn't made as many as he'd like, but 8 from 8.
Game, Draper. New ball,
Come back
please.
too often, no matter who.
Jack, come on. Great tennis, Jack. Great stuff. Here we go.
Voice of James Trotman, who was a good player himself a few years ago.
Love 15.
Actually won the junior Wimbledon title in doubles. Did this guy? A long time ago now, but well respected.
Love 15.
A lot of frail forehands coming from the Aussie so far. 2 mistakes in this game puts him within touching distance of dropping this opening set. Draper just being consistent at the moment and letting the unforced error count climb for the Demon.
Let for service. Love 14.
It's been an uncharacteristic set of tennis from Alex de Minaur. Certainly not used to seeing him have quite so many holes in his game as we've seen so far. Draper's exposed them.
Fifteen, 14.
This one, mate. Here we go. Right.
13, 14.
more miles an hour on that serve than there was maybe a couple of years ago. It's come in handy when required.
Three up, three down. Sometimes that's the kind of boost a player like Minaur needs to get engaged in a set. Been a little bit flat energy-wise. The forehand's been off, but get out of this, it might invigorate him.
Advantage, Draper.
Watch the tee. Watch the tee.
Coach called the pitch, didn't he? Told him to watch the tee. That's where the serve went. And Draper was there for the return, but not here for this exceptional two-hander. 4 set points have come and gone.
Right at him, and Draper just simply could not get out of the way of it.
Advantage, Minaur.
Nowhere to go. Again, he's having to rely on his ability to defend the second serve.
5 games to 3 per set.
At times, a fair bit in this opening set. Minaur has done just that.
Here we go, mate. It's getting these rallies. Come on.
Hewitt urging Minaur to buckle down and make this physical, get into the rallies. Well, if Jack makes first serves, that's been hard for him to do.
Feet up to that one, did he? See the iPad, but the sort of screen there that James Trotman's got in front of him. Of course, that will have a in-match data for him to digest as much or as little as he wishes. fascinating, Jim, isn't it, to see if he can elongate those rallies, if Jack can compete in that fashion for 3 hours, physically.
Today's not a day where players will fatigue due to the conditions, but the moment. The situation can also extract energy. If you're tense, you're nervous, you're anxious. That's also bleeding fuel out of the tank. There's a tense moment now. 4 set points have come and gone, and it's 15-30, trying to serve it out. Interesting that he opted out of attack early in the rally, had a big positional advantage, but dropped back after the what seemed to be an approach shot attempt. And got the ultimate reward. A gift from de Minaur there.
Yeah, fellow Brit Dan Evans played him a couple of rounds ago and did his best to come in against him, but found success hard to come by when he was coming forwards. Jack, though, coming in off probably a little bit more in terms of weight of shot.
How about that tactic? A little bit of a bluff at 30 all with the serve and volley, and it works. Dropped a pair of twos on him, went all in. And de Minaur folded there. Set point number 5. Not that time. Now de Minaur with a great return at the shoelaces.
Use.
And that's where the prospect of de Minaur's speed really shrinks the court for someone like Jack on that volley. You've got to hit it close to the line, otherwise Alex is going to beat you with the pass.
The Aussie guy in his corner wasn't better than either, was he?
Advantage, de Minaur.
Toss just a little bit too far in front, and he's now got some issues here to deal with.
He's nervous. It's understandable. This is when the nerves can creep in, trying to finish out sets, especially when you've had so many chances. Now's a real chance for de Minaur to get right back in it.
Use.
Seeing some different things from Draper in this game, aren't we? Second serve that opened the game up early on in the game was very slow compared to his average. And some serve and volleys. That's the next step in his evolution as he starts to be in this position more often, is to just be normal in this situation. It takes time. It's not easy. What he is experiencing right now, everybody goes through. How do you normalize a situation that you've dreamed of? Not easy.
Just stretching himself out. 39 minutes it took, but it's the Brit that leads the Aussie here. 6-3.
15 love.
We were discussing earlier on the role that Andy Murray has had, not just in Jack's career, but also in all of his fellow British players. Always been willing to give his time, Andy. with someone like Andy and seeing the level of application and dedication required.
Yeah,
and having the bar where it needs to be.
Yeah, no, Andy has led by example for as long as he's been on tour, and always been a big supporter of the Brits, male and female.
Did you have someone like that in the early days to practice with or to be around that you thought, you know what?
I went to one of the first tennis academies, and I got to see top 10 players like Jimmy Arias and Aaron Krickstein and Yannick Noah practice. So no, I wasn't on the court with them, and I wasn't getting supported by them in the way that, from what I've gathered and seen, Andy has done for a long time with his British teammates. But you just get to see what it takes, and that is invaluable. Sure, he's spoken about how much Andy's meant to him. He's also spoken about how he doesn't miss the smelly shoes that Andy will leave around his locker. Well, quite a funny quote, right? He was talking about how much he's gleaned from him, all of that, but also how they used to sit quite next to each other in the locker rooms. And of course, Andy perspired quite a bit in his day. Shoes brought a little funk to the area.
Andy playing a lot of golf these days, I can tell you.
Is he?
Yeah.
Misses, so Minaur a chance to get the board here with a hole to serve, something he couldn't do early in set one. And I'm glad to hear Andy's continuing to find competitive outlets. He'll need that.
Yep.
It'll be important for him.
During end of year championships. Just in time.
30
He's done very well out of the corners again.
Here we go. This one, mate. Love that backhand line.
This tournament's been good for Draper, Nick, in so many ways, right? Obviously, the success on the court, but also the distance he's now putting between what happened at the end of his match with Felix Auger-Aliassime in Cincinnati, which really troubled him. Good hole to serve there, but he came to this tournament with his tail between his legs. I think he says that he spent 4 days thinking of nothing else but the end of the tournament.
Made a first serve out wide on the ad yet. Okay.
Instruction coming from Trotman there, and physios standing by courtside as well. What did you make of the aftermath of Cincinnati?
In terms of how he dealt with it, or what was surrounding it?
Both, all of it. Maybe for those who aren't familiar, give us a little color on what happened.
I mean, match point, serve and volley. I think it was serve and volley. I think it was. He found his way to the net, didn't he? Half volley, finds his way over the net. Second look, the ball clipped the floor on the way on Jack's side. Felix obviously knew straight away. Jack looked a little confused as to how to deal with it, didn't he? How did Jack's a sensitive guy. Okay, Jack's a fair and honest guy. That's the first thing I'll say about him. If you know Jack, he's not a cheater in any way, shape or form. Experience counts for a lot, right? Did Jack know it hit the ground? You played a lot more than me, Jim. You told me. Did he know that it hit the ground that day?
The way that the ball bounced would lead most players to understand what happened. It certainly tipped Felix off to what had happened. But you can understand the emotion of the moment for a player too. Trying to close a match out. There's no question that if he'd have known conclusively, and it's, by the way, it's the chair umpire's job, not his. Shot there to get the 30 all. It's something where clearly once he saw the replay in the locker room online, which quickly circulated, he would have felt worse than any single person about it.
Totally.
And if he'd have had a chance to go back and redo it, knowing what he knew once he saw the replay, he would have done, you know, what he could have done, which is to say, that's your point, Felix. It's deuce. I'm going to serve out 2 more points and win it. And that would have been heroic. But that's not his obligation or responsibility. Some would have done it, sure. Many would have not. So can't blame him for that. But the reaction he's had since then has been quite impressive. Back to work, not in a shell. Come back in and prove on the court that you're a good player and you're a good guy. And if he's given that chance again, I think we all know how he'll react.
Totally.
And is reacting well here in the second set as well. Break point for the Brit.
Minaur clutching again is the back of his leg. Physically, you do feel as though the Aussie is compromised at the moment. Looks a shadow of himself. Well, may just get a few more answers right now. Really notice it out here so far. He's been able to play through it nicely. Is he not reading the serve at the moment, Jim? Is the serve just placed too well because we're so used to seeing Alex make such a high volume of returns?
Man, that's got nice pace and nice precision, and that's going against the grain that Minaur is expecting, right? He's looking for the wide serve there, so he's late reacting to that. The unreturned serves, almost half of them getting the job done when he makes a first serve, Draper. Boy, that is pretty remarkable. Taking them deep for the second serve return. Still can't land it. But good signs from Alex to start hopping around. He would have been encouraged to see the physio come out for his opponent. That would give him a little bit of hope. Might get a diminished Draper.
Chase on
Draper leads 3-1.
Very
Second
uncharacteristic.
Spare a thought for Grigor Dimitrov, player who has been striving to reach a major final for his entire career. He's been close, made a semi, was really close against Nadal to reaching a final when he played him in the semis of the Australian Open some years ago. And last night he was in a tussle with Tiafoe. And he slipped and injured himself at Wimbledon. And it seemed like he had a recurrence last night and was unable to finish the match. It was sad scenes, deflating really. You could see him just distraught on the court. And Jack doesn't run full for that one, does he? That's not a good sign there. That's about as long of a run as you can have on the court. That really exposes the hamstring, doesn't it?
Yeah. Even more so for Dimitrov when you consider he's in his early 30s, and I'm not writing him off, but I guess you feel it a bit more.
Well, that's the extra devastation, because he had a default at Wimbledon in the first set of the 4th round against Medvedev when he slipped and fell. So that's 2 majors when the hourglass is ticking out of his clock there. It's just brutal, heartbreaking.
For service.
That was a little bit easier to see based on his lack of play after Wimbledon, trying to build himself back up. This one, I mean, we're not on the team, so we don't know, but this seems to have come out of nowhere.
For service.
Certainly changes the complexion of a match where he's up a set and a break. It certainly feels a lot closer all of a sudden.
30.
It's been the forehand of Minaur that really has been vulnerable today. There's mounting.
It's a good effort from Draper to maintain control of the rallies as much as possible. Scampering looks like it's going to be a challenge for him, but if he's able to be dominant and in the middle of the court, that hamstring won't get as exposed, and this is a chance for him to really grab this set and take it firmly in hand. Minaur has to be thinking, how do I get this guy moving side to side? He needs to be doing windshield wiper drills.
It's a rare win behind the second serve as well, because numbers have been difficult to defend off that side so far in this match.
Advantage. Minaur.
Somewhat subdued Australian out here so far, but perhaps. Jack Draper playing in just the 10th major main draw of his career. But right now, tracking a place in the last 4.
15.
Careful giving this guy a chase, because he'll burn you if it's not quite good enough.
Come on, Jack.
That's so handy. What a valuable free
15
point
over.
that is. Sometimes when you get your leg strapped up like that, it does take a game or two for the tape to settle in and for you to feel comfortable moving. We'll hope that that's what's hampered him in some of the lack of long strides that we've seen. But first strike tennis can alleviate a lot of the problem for Jack Draper. And he keeps that sweet lefty serve coming. He should be able to hold on here for this set at least. How good is that? I mean, that thing has so much side spin on it. Goodness.
14, 15.
You mentioned Greg Rosetsky earlier on. He was someone in that category, wasn't he? Who had a similar serve that did as much movement as that.
Right there.
14, 15.
Right there.
That's tremendous. Had no business winning that point, but has done just that.
Yes.
And this is where volleying starts to get tougher going forward. When you hit a volley there, that's not a great location on the volley, but against most players, you're not going to get beaten with a pass. Minaur is not most players when it comes to the speed department.
Advantage, Draper.
Go, bud.
Minaur did a great job, but Draper stayed nice and cool on that one. How does he get as much purchase on that as he did?
I have two questions about that point. I'll start with, how did he make that volley? And how bad was the drop shot? Those are my two questions. Was that a lob? Was it a drop shot? Which one was it?
Answers on a postcard to Jim Courier.
At Nick Lester.
Come on!
Okay, this is trouble now, an opportunity all at the same time. Draper's had chances to close this game, and Minaur is just hanging tough.
Go. Right here.
Left for service.
Some pass. guess you could argue that Alex's volley was maybe a little shy, but he still had a fair bit to do, didn't he?
Take your time. Serve and ball free. Quality. Here we go.
Well, the movement really held up, as well as the shot making from the Brit there.
Advantage, Draper.
Come on. All you, Jack. Let's go.
Game, Draper.
What a significant game that could prove to be.
Draper leads
But
4
holding
games to
strong
2.
under pressure.
Second set.
Alex de Minaur is becoming a bigger and bigger name in Australia as he's assumed the mantle as top Aussie male, given Kyrgios's inability to be back on tour. So January, there's a lot of chatter about him. How was the chatter in the UK on the heels of Draper beating Alcaraz at Queens this year?
I mean, honestly, I think this summer was so much about Andy Murray in terms of his retirement, and so much was going on there with Andy that it probably did Jack a favour in many ways. People have known about Jack for a while, Jim, in back home. I think probably haven't seen him quite enough. There have been other players that have been the trumped him. Cam Norrie, again, not someone that garners a whole lot of fanfare, Cam, but won Indian Wells, obviously, so he's been in their shadows a little bit. But I think you know as well as I do, I think to the casual tennis fan, the majors are where it's at, right? Until you get a deep run at a major, that's when you're getting attention. And this will definitely be a game changer, I think, for Jack back home. Marketable young man as well. Having failed to take his chance to get a break, he now is in serious peril here. Finding himself down 2 sets to love.
Come on, Jack.
Has he been subdued today? Do you think, Alex, not tennis-wise, but emotionally?
First set, he sure looked like he came out with a little bit less pep in his step than we're used to. More emotion coming off of the Aussie here in the second set. I don't know if I'm reading too much into the injury that he sustained at Wimbledon and carried really into this tournament. It just feels like he's holding back a little bit of something. I don't know if it's physical or emotional, but it just doesn't seem like the full de Minaur package is there today yet. But he keeps digging himself out of some deep holes.
Yep.
Saved the 4 set points in the opening set when he was serving to stay in it at 2-5. So he showed flashes of the fight he's famous for.
Mm-hmm. a forehand with the handbrake.
Advantage, Draper.
Look at where it's landed. I mean, it has got so much on it, this ball.
Starting to find a little bit more first serves in play in this set. And how about the accuracy in the ad court on some of these break points? Just pinpoint in the corner over the high part of the net. Difficult serve to make. He's done it a couple of big times in this game. Forced error count has been lighter this set for de Minaur, but that one hurts. 7th. And the break points just keep coming for the Brit. 5th one in this game ready.
Use.
Certainly will feel as though he could be a little further in front right now, won't he? You would suspect.
Advantage, Minaur.
Pretty close to the ball change here as well. Game a couple of games away. Opportunities to make it grow. Crucial period of this match, you sense. So many twists and turns in a best of 5, of course, but Draper with new balls here. Try and get him over the line in the second.
Corey de Minaur standing there, kind of conceding the wide serve here. To love 15. There's good reason for de Minaur to be protecting his backhand return. So far today, Jack serving over 70% of his first serves into the backhand corner in both courts. Alex is standing in the doubles alley trying to get him to hit it up the middle to the forehand, trying to take that wide serve away. Given that de Minaur is one of the game's greats at taking opponent serves, It's been surprising. He's only broken once today, in fact. Threatening a second one, though, up 30. Still, he's really exaggerating, taking away the tee serve here. And going over the high part of the net there is going to give him another second serve to work with.
You can rush him on the forehand, can't you? That flat ball into that side with the grip. We referenced it on the return. Sometimes it's just not quite as easy to get a clean hit on the ball. And Minaur has opened up some opportunities.
Went back to the favorite serve there from today, the wide serve. Minaur had a good return there. Nice two-hander from Draper. Minaur looked to me like he was about 80% speed running for that ball. Didn't have the normal incredible burst. Both of these guys just seem a little bit hampered at the moment from a movement standpoint.
Could so easily have been up 5-2 double break. But the script
4 games
is a little
second
different right
set.
now.
Love 15.
Good energy, mate. Come on.
To win a few of the longer rallies, isn't he? He's starting just to get a few more mistakes out of the Brit.
It's so interesting because when you play Minaur, the thing that these players talk about being concerned with is his ability to extend his range on the court. He can cover so wide on the court because of his foot speed. Certainly not his height, but his end range is definitely diminished today. But so too is Jack Draper. So this is turning into more of a shootout as opposed to a run and gun.
15-13.
This is going to be fascinating to see how this contest boils down. Both of these guys trying to go where they've never gone before. Draper's already there, in fact, in the quarters, but a semifinal on the line.
Medvedev or Sinner awaits the winner. There will be an action tonight. And I don't know about you, Jim, but I'm backing the American in the first semi-final.
30-all.
Yeah, the betting favorite.
Glad you agree. This was a clever volley, wasn't it?
Go, Jack.
Out. 40-30.
Jack Draper. Alex de
Minaur
Minaur has hung
leads
so
5 games to
tough in
4.
this set.
Second
and he's
set,
got the
first
lead.
set, Draper.
Try and keep these points short.
Words of advice from the coach. Once again, raining down. To recognise how difficult that was going to be.
15 love.
You can do it, huh? Come on. First opportunity, you take it. Back.
Lands that serve up the tee.
30 love.
Minaur once again establishing a very wide return to serve position, trying to force Draper to serve away from where he's been favoring so far in this match, which is at the backhand of the Aussie.
That's the way.
14 love.
Unknowns with Jack being in new territory, but does this feel like a match that Alex can come back from 2 sets to love down and win from your perspective right now?
I think all cards are on the table, given that the tape around his leg.
Game, Draper.
You?
5 games all.
What a challenge
Second
here,
set.
huh? I back your ball striking, mate, but you just got to take the first half chance you get, huh? Alert and back yourself. Let's go. Come on.
Group of friends there. Barney Smith actually in there. He's got the Texas A&M shirt on. He's the player used to play at Texas A&M. Barney, good friend of Jack's, same age. What a finish that is.
Love 15.
Interesting to know, wouldn't it, how many, if there was an influence in terms of games won from a player when they come back to the coach's end, how much of an impact that makes the coach's words.
Well, you're really going coach versus coach, right? Because anytime you're on your coach's side, the other guy is too.
Yeah, fair point.
Clearly a lot more information coming from Trutman than Gutierrez today.
Back yourself. It's the only way right now, huh? You can do it. Let's go.
Instructions are clear, crystal clear. You can hear them for yourself. He wants his player to be aggressive at the first opportunity. Trust his shot making.
15, 13.
Well, that wasn't break point. It sure feels like it when you're serving love 30 at 5 apiece, going down love 40. A tough feeling. Another key free point on first serve from de Minaur. Well, here's a chance now for Draper to get on the front foot in this rally and try and stamp out another chance. That was a gift.
15, 14.
Almost looked like he pulled out of it a little bit as well. "14 break points de Minaur has had to face today. On 11 of those, I can tell you, he has made the first serve, so he's been able to step up. Needs to again.
30-14.
Sure seems like the wide serve in the ad court's been very effective on first serves on these break points. 3 out of 15 Draper is. So many chances. Where does Demon go this time?
Was looking for a way through de Minaur. In the end, the
leads
Aussie
6 games
breaks
to
down
5.
For those who do like their statistics, here's one for you. Alex de Minaur has never come from 2 sets to love down to win a 5-set match. Neither has Jack Draper, for that matter, but that's not going to be his issue today. It might be Alex's if Jack can get through this game.
Not many players have been able to make the return of the Aussie look so ineffective off the first serve as Draper has today.
What do you put that down to? Court speed? Accuracy of the
30
serve?
love.
Overall awesomeness? There's the string and crew going to work right now. They'll have 3 different machines doing all the rackets at the same time, so he'll have all those back within 20 minutes. They're like a Formula One crew changing tires.
Out.
They don't hang around, do they?
14
Not
love.
hanging around in this game, is he, Jack? Either triple set point.
On the cusp of a sizable lead.
Fourteen, 15.
Later in front of you, it certainly looks as though he's hit his spots extremely well today on serve. He's kept him guessing.
The wide serve that's been so effective. De Minaur's doing his best with his court position on return to dissuade Draper from hitting the wide one. But at this point, go with the, you got to dance with the date you brought. Go wide here, have an open court to play with. That'll do it.
Second set,
Jack
Draper.
Draper 1 set away
7 games
from
to
a US
5.
Open semi-final. He
Draper
leads
leads
Alex
by
de Minaur
2 sets to
by
love.
2 sets to love.
Third set,
Set number 3 then.
Alex de Minaur to serve.
The world number 10 looking to achieve something that he's yet to do in his wonderful career to this point. He's got a mountain to climb.
Out. 15 love. Love. 14 love. Game de Minaur.
It's an impressive opening.
First
of
game, third set.
Alex de Minaur.
And he's sticking right around there. As you've mentioned, trying to make it to the Tour Championships, which is a huge achievement to be in the top 8 players that get to play in that event in Torino. At the end of the season, still very much on the cards for him.
He had a couple of big wins at the start of the year, didn't he, Jim? Beat Djokovic at the United Cup. I know you were there that week.
Yep.
That was the first win over the Serbian at the time.
Well, Novak had destroyed him at the Australian Open the year prior. Made a point of it. I think he was asked on court, why did you beat him so badly? And just because I wanted to. I don't know what jerk asked him that question. But anyway.
Come on! Let's go.
15-all.
Yeah, Demon was absolutely fantastic at the United Cup this year. That's when he started to kind of showcase some of the new skills. He lost his first match to Nori, actually in a tight one, 7-6 in the third, and then beat Fritz, Djokovic, and Zverev on the trot. Those are the types of players who play in the Tour Championships when it's all the big boys. So he came out of the blocks hot and lost to Rublev in the 4th round in a tight one. 5 sets to the Russian. Then he went on to the finals of Rotterdam, winning in Acapulco. Tremendous first quarter.
14-15.
So this is no easy task to take out Alex de Minaur. De Minaur is, we think, slightly diminished with his movement, but so too Jack Draper. It seems like they're on even terms from that standpoint. And Draper's just out serving and out hitting him.
Yep.
Game Draper.
So we know that de Minaur has made it to the top 10. Where's the ceiling for Jack Draper, Nick?
Big changes, huh? First half chance, I back you.
It's a tough
And I
question,
back you to
Jim.
get hot at some point, huh? Come on.
I mean, a shimmy, he can stay healthy, right? Which obviously has been an issue for him.
Again, goes top 20 with a win here today for the first time in his career.
I think he believes, which I think is a big part of it. I mean, it's fairly clear with what he's achieved already. Do I think he'll be a top 10 player? I do. I do. I think the evidence of the last few months and the improvement, I think he's a guy who the same way as Alex, leaves no stone unturned. And I've had a lot of conversations with people back at the NTC. They'll tell you this guy works so hard. Jack is always there, always committing. So he'll get everything out of his career. He's got weapons. It's pretty clear as well, isn't it? The evolution of his game. I think there were conversations, Jim, people probably had 4 or 5 years ago saying, I'm not sure Alex is going to be a top 10 player. He's underweight. He's under... doesn't have the weapons. What was the conversation people had 4 or 5 years ago about this guy, wasn't it?
13-15.
He evolved. Looking at his top 10 wins, actually, he's had 18, but 11 of those, Jim, have come in the last 2 years. So he's been able to match the big boys a lot more often in recent times, Minaur?
Let first service.
It is a bit of a trick question, right? Because ceilings are really hard to see. Potential is easy to see, but you can't see the guts, the heart, the nerve, the things that matter just as much.
Let first service.
Is the top 10 as strong now, Jim, as it was 6 or 7 years ago? I'll throw that back to you.
Well, there's no Federer there. Right. There's no Nadal there.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's not throwing shade on the top 10 right now. They're awesome.
14, 15.
But, you know, some of your all-time great players who have left or are in the process of exiting the stage. So, yeah.
Those top 5 were obviously different gravy, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
Game, de Minaur.
Plenty to discuss.
De Minaur leads 2-1, third set.
Jack Draper has kept Alex de Minaur guessing out here this afternoon.
Demon slow to get up after that
15 low.
backhand open stance pass. Not a fatigue issue at 1 hour and 49. Hopefully nothing more than just frustration.
Talk to a whole number of different players about the
13
speed
low.
of the court, and you might get a whole lot of different answers, but some nice data that came to us this morning. We were reading a piece at Craig O'Shaughnessy, who does a bit of work on the data side, had found out that 70% of the points at the US Open this year have been 4 or fewer shots, which is the highest it's been in a decade. What do you put that down to?
13, 15.
We were told in the pre-tournament briefing by tournament director Stacey Allister they aim to make this medium fast. 42 on the court pace rating index, which is very fast. They call it medium fast, but you don't see numbers in the 40s very often on tour. 50 is the highest that they rate it. Clay courts are in the mid-20s to high 20s. So that's the slowest surfaces the players see. First of all, I think Draper played an out ball in the return. Second of all, what a get from de Minaur. And he barely scraped it to get it on his racket and avoid a not up, it appears. Oh, wow. Video review is in play here. If there is any question, chair umpire can look at it again on replay, but he got that one. Beautiful run onto the ball. Did you see him hobble after he hit the brakes?
Definitely.
New ball lead.
Number 1 once again.
2 games all.
Just to
Third
finish
set.
that thought on the court speed, faster the court, tougher it is to defend, quicker points, more free points on serve you're going to get. It's harder to return. You just have less reaction time. That's what it comes down to. And a court speed like this for a very healthy Alex de Minaur would be optimal. Because he doesn't hit the ball that hard. His ball gets extra value, skids through the court, His serve gets extra value on a court this speedy also.
Drop shot was not optimal, whichever way you look at it. Draper was there to eat it up pretty comfortably.
Love 30.
This is a big moment here, big chance for Draper to really grab this match. Love 30.
Love 40.
So really misses that shot. It's been that sort of day for him. Draper with a handful of chances to further increase his lead.
The fourth meeting between Draper and de Minaur. They've always been close contests. And up till now, they've always been won by the Aussie. But he's hanging in there like a loose tooth right now.
What a finish to the game. And
first chance, huh? Come on, right here.
closing in on 2 hours out here in the third of the men's quarterfinals.
Love 15.
You like that band Semisonic? You remember them?
I do remember them.
How about that song Closing Time? You like that?
Rings a bell somewhere,
It's
Jim.
a good one. And that's where Jack Draper finds himself now with 2 sets and a break.
15.
If he can just hold it together with his serve, he's going to shake hands here and probably sometime in the next 15 minutes or so. 20 the outset. Well, he's trying to do something he's never done before, and that's always intriguing to see how an athlete responds.
I haven't seen that enough away from de Minaur today. That outward positivity that he brings to a court. His presence. He's been missing.
One at a time. First one. Here we go, Jack. Come on, Jack. Let's go.
As his first look at a break point in the set.
Come on. 38-42.
Went for the three-quarter pace delivery, and he couldn't have hit it any better.
So well played for Draper. Some real clutch tennis to get back to deuce, and it's becoming more and more clear that Minaur cannot move and hit open stance backhands without really hurting himself. He looked really in pain at the end of this rally. Earlier in the rally, he did hit open stance backhand, and he didn't get out of that corner fast at all. Look at that reaction after that one. Just
advantage Draper.
Compromised.
But how much admiration we have for him for just being here in this moment at all, given what he went through at Wimbledon, the comeback, the rehab, all of that. He is a fighter.
First service.
Many would have just said, you know, and I'm just going to go back and rest and see what I can do. But Minaur's not only come and played here, he's made it to the quarterfinals. It's likely to end there, and he's likely going to need substantial rehab to get back to good and make that push he'll need to do to reach the tour finals in Torino. Can't even get out of the shot. So Draper gets out of a jam there.
Draper leads 4-2. Third set.
He's got him right where he wants him.
Take it to him. Here we go. You're doing great. Here we go. First one, you never know.
This is a big chance for Draper to just put this match away here. If Minaur is just going to go for broke, he's hobbling now. The gait on his movement in between points is now altered as well. Draper, he's not 100% either. He's taped up, but he is looking really, really good on the scoreline here. And if he stays focused here, he might be able to take it now.
Not 30. First service.
Draper able to dictate the Australian, who's cutting a rather forlorn figure at the back here. It looks as though his US Open race has been run. That comes into every major he plays these days with high expectations, but it wasn't the case this time around, was it, Jim? As you say, he was playing his chances down, was Alex, having not competed for 6 weeks prior to arriving here in New York.
He had just a lone doubles match with Alexei Popyrin at the Olympics. No singles, wasn't able.
because where others have not been able to capitalize, it
Draper
looks as
leads
though he
5 games
has.
The court Friday without a wrap on his leg. What damage has been done? Can he get that healed up in a hurry? That's a question. But what an opportunity. What a tournament he's having.
15 love.
As you said, Jim, he'll be top 20 on Monday, regardless of where he goes from here. That sums up the match so neatly. Draper's had all the answers.
30 love.
Nice. Had some fashion spreads already. Quite stylish off the court. How about the style of the finish here with a flourish? Triple match point for the semifinals.
Into the US Open semi-finals
6-2.
in some style. A first win over Alex de Minaur, and the Brit reaches the last four without dropping a set all fortnight. It's a breakthrough week for Draper, who's through 6-3, 7-5, 6-2.
Now the only real concerns for him are physical. The confidence levels have to be high. What an adrenaline rush to finish that way. Draper, the energy levels